All right, we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our live stream. We're gonna look at the Ethereum Merge, which is supposed to come out really soon, and how it might actually be here before everybody thinks. Okay, we're gonna look at that. We're gonna look at a lot of other updates that have happened in the space since our live stream yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday in this channel. Just subscribe, turn on notifications. You're gonna find out about those whenever you go live. We're gonna answer some of your questions. Check on the crypto. Let's see here. Hold on a second. It's my, I think I just accidentally hit the stop streaming button. Can y'all still hear me okay? Let me know in the chat. Can y'all still hear me okay? Awesome. So anyways, let's get back into that. Sorry, I had a little technical hiccup. So anyways, if you are new around here, hey, I'm Gregory. On this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then definitely head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. Get started today. Somebody says no sound. Can you all still hear me okay? I only see one person saying no sound. Somebody says sound is good. I think we only have one person who has an issue with the sound, so I'm going to assume everybody else can hear me okay. Awesome. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's talk about the Ethereum Merge, which is coming up really soon, and how it could be here sooner than everybody thinks, okay? So, of course, we have Ethereum moving to proof of stake next month, all right, in September. And this is basically where Ethereum switches out the engine of the car that's driving it right now, which is proof of work, which supports mining on the blockchain. That's getting swapped out for proof of stake. So Ethereum is going to be a staking asset where you can lock up in the network, earn passive income reward for, validating transactions on the blockchain. ETH will most likely become deflationary over long periods of time based on the fee burning plus the new issuance that's going to drop whenever the merge happens. Okay, lots to be excited about there. Lots more reasons to hold ETH. Economic impact that could cause the price to increase significantly over time. Okay, so for all these reasons, the merge is one of the most anticipated events in all of crypto's history. And so we just got the official announcement from on the Ethereum.org website. So blog.ethereum.org. Okay. For the official merge mainnet. All right, so this is official, it's out there, and it could actually be here before everybody thinks. So we've seen the merge timelines get accelerated. It's kind of the opposite of what a lot of people are talking about online. For many, many years, people have completely faded the Ethereum merge, saying like, hey, this is never going to happen. Like ETH 2.0 keeps getting delayed. Like the Ethereum development community can never actually ship anything, get anything done. We don't actually believe the merge is going to happen. We've seen that for years. Now we're seeing the opposite of how it's actually accelerating and potentially exceeding everybody's expectations. So, the initial sort of estimate for the merge, I believe, was towards the end of September. And now recently it's gotten accelerated more towards like the middle of September. And based on the blog post from Ethereum.org, it could actually be here sooner than that. So let's take a look at why. So Ethereum is moving to proof of stake. That's what we just talked about. Everybody pretty much understands now. So this is going to be based on the Bellatrix upgrade. So in order to understand this, you have to understand how the merge actually takes place. So you've got two blockchains running right now. Okay, we get the proof of work version over here, which is called the beacon chain. All right, and nobody's really using the beacon chain right now. All it's doing is running proof of stake. You can't merely make transactions on it except to deposit your Ether and set up a validator. Okay, you can't like go send cryptocurrency around, and all that's locked up. And you got the blockchain now that everybody uses that's still running proof of work. Those two are going to get merged. So how does that happen? Well, basically, how do you upgrade a blockchain? Well, basically, you update the software that runs the blockchain, which is the client software that lets you run a blockchain node. So like if you're a miner and you run that process on your computer, you're just running software that tells the computer like how Ethereum works and how to connect to this peer-to-peer network and how to validate transactions into blocks, my Ether. Same thing for, proof of stake. So how do you upgrade a blockchain? Well, basically get everybody who participates in running the blockchain to install new software that's going to make that switch. So that particular upgrade is going to be the Bellatrix upgrade, okay, which you can see here. The Bellatrix upgrade is scheduled for this epoch on the beacon chain, okay, basically on September 6th. So on September 6th, what's going to happen is they're going to implement a software upgrade that teaches the blockchain how to transition towards proof of stake. So on September 6th is not the actual day that the upgrade is going to happen, what it's going to do is set a total terminal difficulty, which is this, which basically is the mining difficulty on the chain. So if you look at Etherscan, you can see the network difficulty. This just shows you how difficult it is to produce blocks, basically how much computational resources / energy is required to produce a new block on the blockchain with mining, okay? And so it's going to reach a terminal point at which whenever it reaches that amount of difficulty, then it's going to switch over to the merge, okay? So basically, whenever the graph reaches this number, that's when the merge will take place, okay? So for that reason, you don't really set a specific date on when the merge will take place, all right? But depending upon how fast we reach that, okay, the merge actually could be sooner than everybody's expectations, which has recently been about September 15th. It could be as soon as September 10th. So almost a week ahead of everybody's expectations, okay? So why is this important? Well, number one, you might say, hey, it's just a few days, like maybe a week, who really cares? Well, it actually could be a big deal, especially because of the market activity that's happening around the merge, right? You've got all these people who are essentially, trying to buy the rumor, sell the fact about the merge. And you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people who don't really for sure know when the merge is going to happen. Like, Ethereum could have switched to proof of stake in many cases, and it catch people off guard completely. You know what I mean? Of course, it's going to hit social media pretty fast that Ethereum has merged, right? But you've got these like high frequency traders, stuff like that, who don't have necessarily. I mean, the really like high level people are going to have the insider information, but like a lot of people are not necessarily going to know the merge happened, right? They're not unless they're like following social media, you know what I mean, or watching this really closely. Most people aren't going to have a difficulty chart pulled up and watching the difficulty actually hit that number and then watch it, move over. Okay, so that's what's going to make this really interesting is we could actually see the merge happen sooner than people's expectations. Now, on the flip side, depending on what happens to the network difficulty, you could see that also fall behind a little bit. So there's a range of September 10th to September 20th. You can look at, let's just see here. There's a resource that tries to track this estimate. Okay, let me just find it. You can see this that sort of graphs out the different difficulties and the variables, okay, that try to estimate when it's going to be. Because right now, like I was saying here, it's estimated September 15th based on some of these calculations and this prediction, but could actually be here sooner based on many variables, because it depends on a lot of things. It depends on energy costs, it depends on the price of Ether, it depends on the hash rate, all that type of stuff, in order to actually accurately forecast when we reach that total terminal difficulty and consequently flip on the switch for the Ethereum merge. So we're going to be keeping an update. I will definitely be updating you on this channel as soon as that happens. The closer we get to those times, we'll monitor those metrics and see if we're on track for hitting the Ethereum merge by everyone's expected target date, or if we actually do get it earlier, which could be a pretty nice surprise. Okay, it's sort of like getting it, getting something expected, or getting something unexpectedly early that everybody's been talking about getting delayed for so many times. Somebody says if we do a lot of transactions, can we speed it up? So that is a thing. If we have basically more network activity, that changes the dynamics here. Basically, how much people are using Ethereum network, how much ETH is getting spent, all that type of stuff. Do I think Ethereum exchange will unlock staked Ethereum since it's not directly on the Beacon chain, but can use custody? So here's a really interesting thing that just came out yesterday. I want to talk about this. So Coinbase just announced their staked Ether token, which is a huge deal for the ecosystem. Okay, we've also got some other things I want to talk about, like we've got updates on the Web 3.0 developer who's been in jail basically for Tornado Cash, the sanctioned Ethereum application. Been accused of basically I've been accused of aiding like money laundering, all that type of stuff. So pretty significant updates. But let's actually look at what this person was asking me about. Was like, will Coinbase support Ether withdrawals? So basically, we've got this beacon chain right now where you can go stake Ether, and you can't actually get that Ether back right now until the unlock after the merge. But here's the thing most people do not understand is that you're not going to be able to withdraw your ETH out of from these providers like whenever the merge happens. So like let's say, like talking about before, let's say the merge happened on September 10th, okay? Like the earliest estimate based on the calculations provided in the post from the Ethereum Foundation. It's not like all that Ether is just going to hit the market on September 10th, right? Or September 15th or whenever it is, right? There's going to be a post-merge cleanup period that's going to take some time before we actually enable withdrawals. So that's the most common misconceptions about the merge. But what could you potentially do with that ETH? Like, what about these services like Coinbase who are letting you stake ETH without running a validator? Well, look at this. So Coinbase will add support for Coinbase wrapped staked ETH. That's kind of a mouthful. On the Ethereum network as an ERC20 token, okay, or CBETH. So what is that? This is pretty interesting. All right. So Coinbase wrapped staked ETH. That's a mouthful. Or just CBETH. That's a lot easier to say. Is a utility token that represents ETH2, which ETH2 with ETH staked through Coinbase. So CBETH can be sold or sent off platform. Okay, while ETH will remain locked up until a future protocol upgrade. So learn how CBETH works here. So basically, it's not meant to track the price of ETH one-to-one. CBETH represents staked ETH plus all of its accrued staking interest, okay, starting from when CBETH's conversion rate balance were initialized, all right? So holders of ETH2 staked on Coinbase can wrap their ETH2 and receive CBETH through Coinbase.com. Okay, you can see the ERC20 token address here. They have a white paper which you can read here. So I'll put a link to this down in the live chat. But why is it significant? So this is an interesting hybrid model, okay? Because Coinbase is a centralized cryptocurrency exchange, but it's really moving quite a bit towards a lot of this on-chain activity that we're seeing native in the crypto space. So we've seen other, staking providers like Lido Finance, for example. So Lido is a way where you can stake, cryptocurrency. You can stake Ether without having to own 32 Ether to run a validator. Or if you have 32 Ether and you just don't want to run a validator, you can stake it through a place like Lido. And what's novel about Lido's approach is whenever you do this in a decentralized way, you get back this brand new token that's Lido's version. That's basically it's like a valet claim ticket for your Ether that you have inside of there, and then you can go use this in other like DeFi protocols. So it's like you can park your money in Lido and they'll stake it for you, but then you can get this like receipt back, and then you can still go do stuff with that receipt. Okay. You can lend it out on a DeFi protocol or something like that. You can use it as collateral. You can use it for leverage. You can do all this type of stuff. And that's pretty common in the DeFi space right now. Like if you're a liquidity provider on Uniswap, like that, we've seen that happen in the past where like you get an LP token, right? The people do it differently, like NFTs or tokens. It depends on what it is. But now Coinbase is getting into that with their staked ETH token, okay, in which, it looks a lot, it's very, very similar to what, Lido has done with their decentralized staking service as well. And this is, to my knowledge, this is the first time that Coinbase has done something like this, and it's a pretty big deal. So we could definitely see more people get attracted to Coinbase staking for Ether, and then, using this Coinbase ETH in the DeFi ecosystems to do things like more yield farming, leverage, because you can actually take it off the Coinbase platform, right? And, it tracks all your accrued interest, okay, and all that type of stuff. So it's pretty novel. And this is the type of stuff that gives more and more demand to hold Ether. Because in order to get one of these tokens, you have to get, Ether, and then you could lock it up, and then you get a staked ETH token back, and you can do more stuff with it. So in my opinion, that increases the utility value for the underlying asset, Ether itself, because you can get these derivative products, basically, that you can use for more stuff. It just enhances the value proposition of Ether. So, which is bullish for that side. We talk about the Merge being bullish for Ethereum, staking being bullish for Ethereum, ETH burning, deflationary, all that type of stuff. But ETH becomes more valuable when you tack on more of these things that you can, these benefits that you can get. Okay, so I want to look at an update based on the blockchain developer who got arrested recently. We've been tracking this on the channel, so I want to bring it up. But basically, we've seen sanctions take place for Tornado Cash, a privacy solution built on top of the Ethereum network. Okay, so what is Tornado Cash, in case you're not familiar? So basically, it is an app powered by smart contracts in the blockchain that lets people deposit funds into it, okay? And then they can go withdraw funds on the other side to a fresh new address, and it makes it very hard to essentially link those two addresses together. So it's a way to try to get privacy on the network, because basically, if you have a blockchain wallet, right, somebody who's, like all your activity you can see all the history tied to that wallet, right? So your address might be like a pseudonym on the blockchain, where only if someone would have to know that you own that address in order to link your activity to you, like you, the individual, your actual human identity. But even if they don't, like let's say that you wanted to, mix up your wallets or something like that. Well, if you just sent cryptocurrency to two new wallets, it's really easy to link that transaction. Like, oh, this person probably owns that wallet, and this is just two different identities that they simultaneously manage, and you could still piece together the transaction history. But what Tornado does is it lets you take your wallet and then send money out of it into this thing called a mixer, and then all these other people are doing it, okay? And that's called the anonymity set. And then on the other side, essentially, you get this like proof that lets you take money out of it. It's like a valet claim ticket, to where it can prove that you deposited, but it doesn't know what your address was that you deposited with. And so that way you can withdraw your funds to a brand new address, okay? And it's really hard to link the two. Now, some people say that some of the analytics firms have like cracked the code on this, right? But for most people, it's going to be hard to tell who it is, because everybody's depositing the same amount of money, and everybody is, my camera keeps messing up. Everybody is withdrawing the same amount of money. So, let's look here. So my camera keeps doing this thing. I don't really understand why it does this. All right, there we go. Awesome. So anyways, let's get a look on this. So we have one of the developers, okay, who got arrested recently. All right, and we've been talking about this, about what are the actual details of this, because the rumors going around online was like he was just, he helped build this thing, and he got arrested, and now we're seeing a new precedent for people who are getting arrested for, writing code. So there's a ton of new precedents set here, because, Tornado Cash, the app I'm talking about, actually had sanctions placed on it. So they're saying, like, if you cannot make transactions to this, you cannot withdraw from it, you cannot really do anything with this. We saw it, like, we saw all their accounts banned from GitHub. We saw their, user accounts, banned from GitHub, people who contributed to the app. That's number one. That's a huge historical precedent. We've never seen a piece of code have sanctions placed on it before, okay, by the U.S., okay, because it's just an app running on the blockchain, just code itself. And so that's a huge historical precedent. The other historical precedent is we've never seen, like, massive... To my knowledge, okay, I'm not a legal expert on this, but my understanding of the situation and why it's such trying to think of a good adjective here. Why it's such a big deal, let's just put it that way, okay, is because we don't really have a precedent for developers who just write code itself to, like, have these issues, okay, to have these actions taken against them. Because in my my understanding, my limited understanding of the law, again, not a legal expert in this any stretch of the imagination, but this is sort of the rules that I play by. There's a difference between creating something and running something. Okay. So, or being the person who puts something into motion, and that's kind of like running it. Okay. So, like, say for example, like you, like it, like there, for a lot of developers, you know, you're going to get into trouble if you put out a cryptocurrency. Like if you create your own cryptocurrency, put it out there and start like trading it on a DEX. Okay. They're like, for a lot of people, like you're in some pretty gray territory for violating securities laws. Okay. And mostly like not gray territory. Like you're violating securities laws. So, like there's one thing of like you, the developer, just creating a cryptocurrency. Like I can sit down and write the code for a cryptocurrency, put on a test network. There's no problem with that. Like that's those are the rules that I play by, right? Like why does it matter? It's not real money. I'm just creating a cryptocurrency. I'm just writing the code for it. Simultaneously, if you add like some other person, like or entity in a different, you know, location who does not have those same sort of, you know, restrictions placed on them, and let's say they hired you to write code for a cryptocurrency, or let's say they registered it with the SEC, or whatever it is, right? Or maybe they failed to register with the SEC when they said they were going to, but they just hired you to write the code. Like you, the developer, you just wrote the code, right? And they're the ones who are either running it or putting it into motion, right? Sort of breathing it to life, but you're sort of the work for hire. There's not necessarily a violation for you, right? So same type of thing here. The real question on the table is, can now like developers, you know, be you know, liable just for like writing some code. So in my opinion, we'll have to see what that's the big fear. But you know, what has kind of come out here with the arrest of this developer is you know, the allegations brought forth in the media, okay, or brought forth by the government as portrayed by the media, is that there are more so accusations here of assisting, you know, money laundering, okay, whether that is directly or indirectly just based on the development of the application, or there's actually some more action taken behind the scenes. So we don't really know exactly what's, you know, going on here, and we're seeing more details come out over time. So let's just kind of keep up to date with this. So alleged Toronto developer must stay in jail, so Dutch judge rules, okay. So Alex is accused of facilitating money laundering via the now sanctioned Tornado Cash app. Okay, so must stay in jail for at least another 90 days. The judge in the Netherlands ruled. So again, we have a lot of ambiguity here about the actual reason, because, you know, we have the sanctions placed on Tornado Cash, you know, which is now linked to over $1 billion in illicit transactions due to the North Korean hackers. Okay, but we still haven't gotten to the bottom of what's actually, you know, being done here, or what the actual reason is for this. It was first brought before the examining judge on August 12th, who agreed he would be held in custody for an initial period of 2 weeks, but that has now been extended after a closed-door hearing. They offered bail. The request was rejected. The court nonetheless set a 90-day time limit for within the initial public hearing must take place. He has not been formally charged of any crime yet. Okay, so that's an important thing to realize. So basically, the FIOD, the Dutch authority responsible for probing financial crime, started its probe in Toronto in June, saying that the decentralized service does little to check whether funds are of criminal origin. So campaigners have said the arrest threatens to kill open source software, as developers would effectively be held responsible for how their code is subsequently used. And that's the other thing. Is there's a long time, you know, debate on, you know, the actual, ethical, moral, legal status of a device or a product or a service or a good, and how it's used, right? So just because something can be used for a certain way, does that make it just in and of itself ultimately bad and worth banning, right? So, now this is a debate that people are going to go all over the map on. You see it all the time. We've seen it. This is not blockchain is not the first time we ever had these types of debates. They've been going on for a very long time. Okay. And so, but you're going to see overwhelming number of people say, hey, this is a money laundering tool, so we need to cut it. But like by the flip side, there's all these like legitimate reasons on why you would want a privacy solution on a blockchain to conceal what your transactions are, even if you aren't, even if you're not doing anything sketchy. Like let's say that you held your money on chain, but you didn't want everybody to see how much money you had in the first place. Okay. Well, that's a legitimate reason to, obfuscate transactions and try to, basically segment your identities, right? Another reason is just simple operational security. Like if you're, holding a significant amount of money on a blockchain, like it's in many cases, I'm not telling you to do this necessarily, but in many cases, it's a good thing to like break up, your funds across different wallets in case one of those wallets gets compromised, reduces single point of failure. Okay. And, also to remove a link between those wallets where somebody, knew the public key or the address of the wallets that you held, and then let's just say that somebody like tried to rob you, right? And then like, you had one wallet, but that one wallet sent transactions to other wallets, and then they know exactly how many wallets you have, right? Like, so there's all these reasons why, you could want to use a privacy solution to conceal the linkage of different addresses, right? That aren't related to you being a criminal and stealing money and wanting to launder it or hide your transactions in any way for bad reasons. Okay. So, this is a whole mess that we're having to deal with. And crypto's not the first time that we've had these conversations. So privacy equals laundering. Yeah. That's sort of the false equivalence. Someone says you don't lock up money on Tornado. I'm not sure if I said lock up money. If I did, I misspoke. What I mean by Tornado is basically what you do is you deposit money into the protocol and then you withdraw it on the other side. It's not lockup. And you can wait. It's not like you have to withdraw it immediately. All right, everybody. So that's all for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. And, if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, you want to, learn how to become a blockchain master, a real-world blockchain developer, change your career, break into the blockchain industry, I can show you how to do that over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I thought people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching.